mouthpiece of the masses. Now, moving on now. In the midst of security threats in the southwest of Nigeria, the Amotekun Corps in Ondo State has continued to be above board. The Amotekun operatives in the state have arrested about 100 suspects through the interboundary operation between Ondo and Ekiti States, tagged Operation Gbale Gbako. That the suspects arrested include a 16-year-old boy, Precious Ekpeboye, who was arrested for allegedly raping his brother's wife. Let's share the story by TVC News Ayodiji Muradere with you.
This parade of suspects came few days after the flag off of Operation Gbale Gbako by Ondo and Osun commands of the Amotekun Corps. 100 suspects have been arrested during the operation between the two commands. While parading some of the suspects before journalists in Akure, the state commander of Amotekun, Adetuji Adeleye, said they were arrested for various offenses such as kidnapping, armed robbery, vandalism, among others.
You can see part of the dividends of...
The Amotekun commander said the command will continue to have synergy with other security agencies to make the state unsafe for criminals.
You can see part of the dividends of the operation. These are part of the dividends of the operation. So it's yielding positive results. And what we are trying to do is to ensure that criminal activities are reduced to the barest minimum during this yellow tide period and after.
Also paraded is this 16-year-old boy who was arrested for allegedly raping his brother's wife. The boy, who is believed to be a serial rapist, raped the victim at a farm settlement in Ondo West local government area of the state.
What you're saying in effect is that criminals should look for somewhere else, not Ondo State. Residents see something, say something to us. Our distress call number remains 0807 999989. We assure you of 24 hours coverage.
The Amotekun commander said the suspect will be charged to court as he reiterated the command's commitment to providing adequate security for people of the state before, during, and after the U-tide. Ayodiji Muradere, TVC News, Akure.
Yes, Operation Gbale Gbako. So sweep inside, sweep
outside as well.
Outside, and by Amotekun, Ondo State making another statement from this Amotekun.
Yes, when you talk about Amotekun in the southwest, Ondo State is a perfect example of how Amotekun should work, working with security agencies to keep our people safe. There is still a lot more work to do, but no one can deny that Amotekun has been doing its best in Ondo State. I am happy also that they are working in tandem with the army, with the police. In fact, sometimes I ask myself, if we didn't have Amotekun in Ondo, Ondo is the gateway to the north. Yes, because it shares boundary with Kogi State, for example. Yes, it's some of the criminals from the north can easily come into the southwest through Ondo State. We saw what happened in Owo. That's why the governors of the southwest states have a lot to do. They must fund Amotekun, provide the tools that they need, and give them the best of encouragement so that they can protect our people in these difficult times. Look at what we are hearing about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway now. It wasn't like that before. But if we do not move quickly,
if Ondo State and Lagos State, they don't take
yes,
this
those
thing
two
serious because this is a boundary.
When you even talk about the
Lagos and Oyo,
Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, 3 states are on that route. Ondo State occupies the biggest chunk of that expressway. So, to keep that expressway safe, the governor of Ondo State especially must sit up in this area. He has to sit up. Lagos is just a few kilometers, you know? But Ondo State is the state that occupies the longest stretch on that road. And we are seeing along the boundary between Oyo and Ogun, these guys are striking, attacking our people in those places. The Shagamu around the interchange was where that lecturer
was picked.
Yes, was picked. And another student of Moshood Abiola Poly, they picked them up. They had to pay ransom before they were released. Then, last week we were discussing here about that road. At the time we were discussing here, they were firing at passengers on the road. What is going on? Just fire at passengers just like that. You know, so the police have to pour more of their men on that road. Let's have what we call the motorized patrol. The motorized patrol is better because you don't have to stay static. If they know that this is where you are, they can operate just after where you are or before where you are. But the motorized patrol will keep them guessing that the police could arrive on the scene anytime. So we have got to protect the Southwest. The Southwest is the safest geopolitical zone in Nigeria. And for investments to continue to come into the Southwest, for even the Americans who always do this travel advisory, for them to continue to list the Southwest as places that people can go to, we must ensure that we are on top of this security situation, especially on that busy highway, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Secure. Yeah. So when you look at the Amotekun Corps now, you know, they are limited in terms of not being able to carry sophisticated firearms that can confront these kidnappers. But then, intelligence gathering, arresting these people, handing them over to the police, and with what they've achieved so far, it has been, you know, impressive.
Yes, it has been, because what Amotekun has done, especially in Ondo State and to some extent in some part of Oyo State so far, is commendable. It shows that if really engaged in this community policing that we have been advocating, and even state policing, which some people have been advocating for a long time, then we'll get it right. Because when you look at the number of policemen that we have to man 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, you see that they are completely inadequate. Even the military seems to be overstretched. At the retreat that the police had in Owerri last 2 weeks that I attended, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Rabo, specifically stated that the military can't wait to hand over the internal security to the police. That's what he said. The CDS that they cannot wait to hand over the internal security to the police so that they can face their main job, which is that of external aggression, I guess. But even at that, you come to look at it, just as rightly said, that the Lagos-Ibadan is not safe any longer. This was a route that I moved on for 4 years. And from what we are hearing and what we are seeing, a lot of people are, and something seems to be happening. The Abuja-Kaduna Expressway is getting safer.
Yes.
So what I am thinking...
Maybe they fled that place.
So they fled from the Abuja-Kaduna Express and come down south. And that is what is happening. So the governors of Lagos, the governor of Oyo State, Ogun, should do something. And the police, Inspector General of Police also do so. That we have to increase capacity in terms of intelligence gathering, as well putting more men on ground to be able to make sure that. And very, very, to me, the saddest of that report is that 16-year-old boy. You can see the level at which social and parental this thing has come to play. A young boy of 16 years getting himself involved in that kind of a thing. Yorubas will say, "Kishoju lasan." Most of these things that they are doing is part of drug. I don't see any man, any person in his rightful sense to be engaging raping your own uncle's wife. Then something must be wrong with you.
Influenced by something.
Exactly. And also feel that with the new threat, what Governor Akeredolu have been saying of late, that Amotekun should be given enough opportunity to arm themselves with more sophisticated. Don't forget the Benue State governor will also be saying same, so that they can be able to assist. But the most important and beautiful part is that there is a synergy. You don't see, once they pick them up, they hand them over to the police, and that is what we have been saying, and that is what is happening.
So when you want to look at even the framework, the law, what they are using now in terms of ammunition and everything, a lot of people will say that they have to step it up, that government should approve at least, because the governor of Ondo State actually asked for AK-47, yes, the minimum.
When you look at what happened in Owo, the kind of havoc that those guys brought on that community and in a church. These are terrorists, and terrorists arm themselves sufficiently. They are not ordinary criminals. So they arm themselves. They always come prepared. They come to take people's lives, and they always arm themselves sufficiently. So if you are now saying Amotekun should go and confront them with pump action, with den guns, of course, it's disproportionate. It's disproportionate violence. It has to be proportionate. What you are carrying, I'm carrying. We will respect ourselves when you see that, look, why are countries that have nuclear capability, why are they difficult to attack? Because you know that the threat that you possess, he also possesses it. And no one knows when somebody will say, okay, I'm not even going to use conventional weapons. When I have nuclear capability. Countries like India and Pakistan. Both of them, enemies of one another, they both have nuclear capability now. If you see the way they jubilated in Pakistan in the 90s when they acquired nuclear capability, because they felt that with that nuclear capability, India cannot threaten them anymore. You know? And the late Indian PM, Vajpayee, tried his best to even make friends with Pakistan. Maybe that would not have happened if they had not acquired that nuclear capability. You tend to respect each other more. The way Putin is threatening, he will use this thing. He knows the Americans are there. They can use their own. That means we want to destroy our world. So if we relate that to what we are saying.
North Korea. Don't forget him.
Yes.
that man. A lot of people don't trust him.
Even the invasion of Ukraine. If Ukraine had a nuclear capacity, there's no way Russia would have gone there.
They won't even go in.
You know that
they won't go in.
You know that Ukraine at a point was already developing their own. At a point they almost completed.
No,
they had a peace. They had a peace.
What happened?
Yes.
What happened was when the Soviet Union broke up, Ukraine happened to be custodians of a lot of the nuclear warheads that the whole Soviet bloc had.
Okay.
They now gave it up. There was a peace pact
they
made them to give it up. So some of their people are regretting now that if they had not given up the nuclear arsenals that they had at that time, would this man have been able to come in? He wouldn't have even thought about it. Because you will say, if I invade them,
controlled,
and they suddenly use it, what do we do? So you will not even go there. But a country of 50 million, you just decided, okay, I'm going to invade them because you thought you could easily overpowered them. Now you've lost Kesin. They were the ones who quickly even retreated. They had to run away from Kesin because the Ukrainians had killed so many of them. So Kesin, which happens to be one of the biggest among the regions that Russia annexed, has been lost. From there, they can move to others. But the point I'm making is, if you have that weapon that matches what the opponent has, even your confidence will be greater, and you know that you can confront the enemy. But you see the way they kill, these bandits kill vigilantes and all this, because the vigilantes don't have the weapons that they have. In one day, they can kill 60 vigilantes, and they don't even want to be confronted. But if you arm them, things will change. The balance of balance of power also, or terror will change.
Just quickly before we round up on that, also what Amotekun is doing should be should be emulated by other security agents, local security agents in other parts of it, especially in the Southeast. I'll give you a classic example. What most of the state governors are doing in Southeast is using a bubago, which was established to be a kind of local security outfit like Amotekun, to victimize political opponents. That's what they're doing, most of them. You see them, they are arresting opponents, stopping opponents from campaigning, using that outfit for what it was not meant to be. And that is a problem. There is a particular state. I don't want to start mentioning it.
That's why people are scared of state.
That's why people are scared. When people see that, they will say, why, if this is what is going to be, then let's forget about state police. Yes, to intimidate their opponents. I'm not seeing that happening in the Southwest, but it's happening in the Southeast. And most those governors should be warned. But that is not the reason for the establishment of that outfit.
The Gbako should be deployed to do what Amotekun is doing.
Exactly.
It should not be politicized.
Yes.
All right, moving on now. Due to pay disparity